All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast episode. Literally just rolled out of the couch, still in my comfy clothes and my pajamas, and decided to click record. So, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. There was a shooting that happened. I don't know much about it. I just know that the media is going absurd. There are protests happening all over the world. Um, and yet, people refuse to say Christ is King. Welcome to the Saving 22 podcast, a podcast for veterans. I'm your host, Trevor Blazik. Let's get into the episode. All right, so I'm actually unsure what episode this is. Doesn't matter too much. We are going to just talk about, I guess, everything that's kind of going on. I started going to school. I just posted a first day of indoctrination video. Maybe that's linked down below. I'll drop that link down below in the description. Uh, yeah, school is not going well. The state of American University is terrible. Um, the youth is terrible. They are getting indoctrinated because they have no idea what truth is and what I even like just simple truth on life. And it's getting kind of annoying to me to have to sit in a classroom while this man is teaching nonsense. This week I got told atheism, atheism is not a religion, so we're not going to study it. I I don't know what that's about. I mean, you worship something, right? You worship either yourself. If you're not worshiping a god, you're worshiping something. You're either worshiping money, uh, family, yourself. You're worshiping something, and those values are not of. I mean, they are. They can be of God, but if you're not worshiping God Himself, then you're out of luck. I'm. I worship Jesus. I believe He is the truth, the whole truth, and I think it would solve a lot of societal problems if we went back to that. But hey, who am I? Other than a child of God. What else? Oh, well, so the context of that is he asked us all what religions we want to study this semester. A bunch of people were raising their hands and just kind of shouting out religions: Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism. Excited for that. And finally, I raised my hand. I was like, "All right, I'll say it. Atheism," because there were several people in the class when we did introductions say they were atheists. I said atheism, and he shut it down real quick. He said, "Well, that's not really a religion. That's the belief of no God. That's the absence of religion." I said, "Wait. We got. I mean, we just listed off all these religions, and all of these religions have a belief in something, belief in a higher power, belief in some set of values. If all of them believe in something and this one group doesn't believe in something, don't you think it's important to study the one group? I mean, I would think so. They're the outliers. Let's study what they got going on." And I was shut down real quick. And he said, "Well, they're not really religion." I said, "Okay. Well, what is religion then?" Because at the beginning of class, he wanted a definition of religion, and no one's definition was good enough. So after asking everybody, I said it's a set of beliefs, typically coming from a sacred text or a higher power, people believing in a higher power, and shut that down because Native Americans don't have a sacred text. I'm like, well, what the okay, dude, how does that? Maybe they don't have a religion then. Whatever. So he keeps, and he does this often. He asks for, or he asks questions, and he's looking. You could tell he's looking for his one answer, if he has an answer in his head that he's looking for. This time he did not. So we don't get the definition of religion. He immediately moves on. Okay, well, if we can't figure that out, what's the difference between religion, philosophy, and science? And everybody's tossing their stuff their way. I believe I said, what did I say? Actually, I'm not sure if I responded to that one. I don't know. I recorded it because I don't trust this guy. And if something goes astray and I fail because of, let's say, I'm anti Semitic, well, I'm bringing it up to the dean and I will have the receipts. But finally, after another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of people answering and us trying to get to the bottom of it, he says, religion is old, philosophy is using your mind, and science is using your senses. That doesn't make any sense to me, but we're rolling with it. And he goes, what's the newest one? People say science. He said, exactly. It's only about 600 years old. And I raised my hand. I said, hold up. Are we including math and physics and stuff in this science? Is this the definition of science? He goes, yes, we are. I said, all right, well, what is the wheel then? Because that was invented thousands of years ago. He goes, oh, that's just a tool. I said, okay, well, then what about the Roman archways and their doorways and everything else they built? Oh. And guy behind me goes, I think he's talking about modern science, dude. And he goes, yeah, modern science. I said, well, all right, well, are we going to talk modern religion? What are we doing here? What's going on? This doesn't make any sense. So anyways, that's part of the indoctrination. We spent the last half hour of class trying to figure out when we should be taking our quizzes, because he said that he wants to save democracy and at least have a shred of democracy in this country. So he's going to let us decide. That was an absolute mess. And then what happens? We had. Okay, well, no, that wasn't. So that was pretty bad. That was brutal. Then I believe the trans shooter shot up a school, Catholic school. People are fighting whether he was left, right, whether he was Jewish, Christian, why did he attack Christians or Catholics to be more specific. And it's turned into, again, a whole political game as we are signing more money away to Israel, as Ukraine is continuing to get benefits from the U.S., as the Iran ceasefire is nearing a close, as Israel is blockading Iran and Gaza, as they are doing blackouts to Iran and telling Iran, hey, if the Prime Minister of Israel and his second in command say, hey, if you guys want to overthrow your own government, we'll send Israel's top dogs and scientists to go over there and get you guys some water and figure out your water situation, because Israel had to figure it out, so we'll help you guys figure it out. Well, they had the water situation figured out. Now you guys are just blockading them, and now you guys are shutting down. There's random electrical blackouts, so rip. There's all of these things going on, and it's more global than just the U.S. I mean, let's see, it's pretty bright. It's more global. It's not just U.S. things happening. People are more focused on what's going on in America, and I mean, we should be. But if you want to go off of that, the school shootings, yeah, it sucks, and I feel for the Catholic kids. I have a buddy from work who's Catholic. Core of their religion is the same as mine. Follow Jesus. They got a different way of doing it. It's kind of my biggest beef with Nick Fuente. I'm not a big Catholic fan. Their religion has been stained by a lot of bad actors, and I believe a conspiracy type deal with Judaism and how they did the whole Catholic priest thing, and I don't know much more about it. I do need to look into it, but if you haven't hopped on the Nick Fuentes train, I suggest you do. But yeah, a trans shooter shoots up a Catholic school. A buddy from work is Catholic. I felt bad about it. I don't think it's a direct attack on Christianity like the Christians are saying. This kid is deranged. I mean, if anybody has hopped on social media, this is just normal social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You end up in these echo chambers and you guys are talking and you start to get more radicalized with your viewpoints. That's typically how it goes. If you're a younger fellow or even someone coming out the military, maybe even someone in the military, you're probably looking for a side hustle because you get paid absolute nonsense. So you're looking online and you're probably falling into a trap of quick money making or something along those lines, and you end up getting radicalized. You think this is the way. At least that's what happened to me, and sure enough, it is not the way. That's what's happening to these young kids who have absolutely no leadership in their life, whether their dad is gone or their dad is scared to act because typically the mom's being pretty overbearing, overprotective, and now the dad is just kind of lost. He has two options: piss off the mom, and now they get divorced. Mom gets the kid because the court's ruling is about 95% the mom gets the kid, unless they don't show up. The other 5%, I think it's like 90% of that extra 5%, the mom just doesn't show up to court. So typically the mom is getting the kid. That's the dad's number one option. You want to discipline your kid, but it's not working because the mom's stepping in. Now the mom's going to end up either sticking with you and it's going to be hell, and now you got to get a divorce, or number two is you let the kid do what he wants because the mom won't let you do what you want. Or mom won't let you discipline the kid, and then you end up with the trans kid. It's like Angelina Jolie and Ben Affleck. Think I think that's it. No, that she was Brad Pitt. Who's Ben Affleck? Ben Affleck had somebody. I don't know. Jennifer Lopez, J Lo. Oh, I believe they are divorced. But you look at, they got a picture of their kids, and they got like three trans kids or something. It's something absurd. Maybe. Yeah. Let me pull this up real quick. Here is a picture of Ben Affleck with his kids. Do you think this man? I mean, perhaps because all these actors are coming from theater. These are all theater boys that are getting screen time, and now they're becoming famous. So maybe, I don't know. The theater kids to me were pretty off typically. They're playing a jock on camera and not in real life. They feel cool because they're playing it on camera, uh, and then you end up marrying a woman who's so crazy for attention that she's on TV constantly and being worshipped. I mean, J Lo's been pretty worshipped. Atheism, you worship somebody, you're worshiping Hollywood, worshiping the stars, and then you get a couple kids. She won't let you do anything about it, and now you end up with crazy kids. This is Jennifer Garner's child. Okay, so who knows? Who knows? But typically, this is what's going on, and the father can't do much about it, and you end up with a kid who has zero direction, has zero purpose typically, and they end up craving attention. You end up on these sites. Maybe they end up. I mean, people are wanting to say, and I was big into the MK Ultra thing. I read that whole book, Chaos, on it with Charles Manson, and that was real. I'm not saying it's not happening now. I'm saying that the people claiming it now are discrediting. It's like a fall plan. It's like you could just blame the CIA for it, and that's not always true. Um, that's an easy cop out. Yeah, okay, well, the CIA is doing MK Ultra, giving LSD to people. Yeah, it is. But this this kid is led more astray. Like MK Ultra, yeah, you can cop out, throw it on the CIA, but at the end of the day, there's no fathers in the homes. The moms are running the show, which is an absolute nightmare. The moms aren't. Women aren't even supposed to be running the church. Like they're not supposed to run much about the church. So if you have them running the home and raising the kid with zero man influence, what are we supposed to do? This is what's going to happen. And you want to get into the left wing, right wing battle. I'm sick of the left wing. The left wing, right wing battle is driving me up a wall because who cares? Especially as someone in the military. I mean, you can't really have a political view. They won't let you have a political view, or at least it's frowned upon. Like this podcast would not be a thing in the military. I would get shut down immediately. There'd be no way. You look at good and evil, and there is evil running rampant in the entire world. That's why you see a lot of a Jesus revolution coming. There's, at least I believe it. Maybe it's because I'm just a believer, but there are a lot of people, and of course the algorithm. I like one Jesus post. Now everything's Jesus post, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there's a revolution. It's COVID. I believe there's some numbers backing up that people are searching for church, searching for God after COVID, and they're finding Jesus. And there's just there's not much to the left wing, right wing debate. I mean, people were super hyped up about Trump. We're 8 months in. We have not gotten the Epstein files he promised. He said he ends the Ukraine war in one day. That's still going on and causing us millions, if not billions. The war in Israel, I'm not sure if he said he'd end that, but he definitely said he wanted peace talks. He went and bombed Iran. Iran is just saying, hey, leave us alone. We're our own state. We're our own country. We have the right to do whatever we want with our resources. And you're saying, no, you're not allowed to do that, or not. You're the U.S. and Israel. Israel saying it, and the U.S. is like, oh, okay. No, that's ridiculous. And then they're pulling like, oh, we leave them alone, they leave us alone. Hey, let's not, because guess what? We're giving them, it was like $3.8 billion a year. They're the only country that, first, they're the number one on aid. Second, I believe it is a loan instead of a grant, or grant instead of a loan. I can't remember. Where we don't have to track what they're spending it on. So we don't even know what they're spending it on. Guess what? We send them $3.8 billion in aid. We're probably the politicians, at least, are getting millions back through APAC. So if you're a politician, you could be like, all right, let's sign off on sending them aid, because guess what? I'm gonna get $100 million back, and my net worth's shooting through the roof. Now I can live safely. We don't track it, and we give it all lump sum at the beginning of the year. You guys could have all of this aid. Have fun with it. And then we say, oh, we leave them alone. They leave us alone. Hey, how about no? How about no? How about we're giving them $3.8 billion a year? So how about we control at least a little bit what's going on? At least we tell them, hey, you're not getting our money if you're going to keep bombing people. You're not getting our money if you're going to keep committing a genocide. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but something's got to give. Something's got to give. That trans shooter is pulling the trans debate back. It's gone. The trans debate is gone. It came and went. We understand the situation. People are upset about the transitioning things. I mean, I see. I'm on a college campus, so I see. I just actually last week there was I believe it was a trans, maybe not, maybe just going through hormone therapy, something like that. But he was running the desk, and then there was another kid sitting next to him, so extremely arrogant, also running the library desk, and it's came and went. Any sane mind is saying this ain't right. The whole school debate, that's gone. And hey, Matt Walsh played a pretty large role in that, but now it's still all he's talking about. Keeping that on the table, keeping that issue on the table. Let's just keep talking about the trans debate. If we just cover that every single day, I don't have to think of any new ideas. A new trans thing happened today. Let's blame the trans. Let's blame the trans. And now it's just constantly kept on the table. You guys want to claim yourself as Catholic. You're working for a Jewish overlord, Ben Shapiro, and you're not doing anything about it. I mean, if you want to stick up for your religion, how about you go start something with your religion? Let's get a Catholic news outlet going. Yeah, I mean, you're close friends with Michael Knowles, close friends with Candace Owens. I believe Tucker's Catholic. Why don't you guys all start a Catholic thing? No, because they still all have something in common. Their boss or their little marionette guide, I believe there has to be something behind it for all of this to be lining up the way it's lining up. You look at the Candace Owens interview with Nick Fuentes, supposed to be all nice. A couple days after the Iran war, Iran war. We're not calling it a war because it was only 12 days. Then she has Milo on, who is a known Fed. His history with Nick Fuentes after January 6th, he says it's going to be Feds. You should leave the Capitol as soon as you can. There's Feds. I'm getting news from the Feds that they're going to be there. Be careful. Tries to get Nick Fuentes into the Feds. He says no. Completely compromised. Married to a gay Jew, I want to say. He's Jewish, married to a gay Jew. Then Candace Owens goes on Tucker. Tucker's dad's CIA. Tucker applied for the CIA, but got shut down, sure, after your dad ran a little bit of the CIA, I think under Nixon, maybe Reagan. Ran part of the CIA. You claim you don't know it, but a couple years before you said you did know it. Now you're claiming Nick Fuentes just out of his rocker. How do you know things about my dad? Well, if he knows and you don't, it took you your whole life to figure out that your dad's in the CIA. You live in Washington, D.C. your whole life, and you have no idea what your dad's doing the whole time. I mean, by high school, I would probably have figured out, all right, my dad's pretty sketchy, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on. He don't tell me what he's doing for work most of the time. I don't know, bro. Something's up. I'm not trusting my own father. I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors. And then they're talking crap about Nick Fuentes, how he's just a gay kid in his mom's basement in the middle of Chicago. And it's like, hey, dude, this is just a normal white boy who somehow got his bank accounts frozen for speaking up against Israel. And some reason this is like a big thing. Like, he's blown up. Like, no, this is just a normal white boy who's like, hey, I'm going to say the N-word because I'm sick of black people telling me what to do and beating people up over this. Like, hey, I'm going to say Israelis kind of running our show over here. Not kind of, they're running the show over here. There's a huge blackmail operation and no one's talking about. They give the public a little bit of what's going on. Oh, Epstein Island, the politicians are going. But they never say who's controlling Epstein. Here's all the files, but we'll never tell you who's his employer and who his clients are. Let's make them think let's make the public think they know what that's called limited hangout. I don't know much about it. I just learned about it. Limited hangout is a tactic used in media relations, perception management, politics, and information management. Concept: former CIA member. When their veil of secrecy is shredded and they can no longer rely on a phony cover story to misinform the public, they resort to admitting, sometimes even volunteering, some of the truth while maintaining key and damaging facts in the case. The public, so intrigued by the new information that it never thinks to pursue the matter further. Just like Epstein. People heard about Epstein. They're like, okay, yeah, he's running things. But that's it. It's like, dude, we're living in 1984 and Brave New World. Like, I just started reading that. I'm only 50 pages in, as you guys might know. But 1984, government is completely ruling everything. The internet rules everything. That's where everybody's getting their information from. They're deleting all the news from yesterday, starting new news each day. Maybe not even deleting. They may just be replacing names on the news. And it's just a revolving door of constant news cycle. I mean, now we got like a 6 hour news cycle. It used to be 24. We got about a 6 hour news cycle, maybe eight. And people, it's just constantly going, constantly going. People are getting, like, their brains are getting fried. The people at my work, they just work, they go home. They don't want to mess with all this nonsense. I I go to work. I have school. Now I just tried out for hockey and I do this podcast. I just want to seek more purpose, and I'm feeling as if God is pushing me towards all of these things. Go to work, figure out how to use your hands, use your mechanical mind, come home, use your scholarly mind, start reading books, read your own books, do some homework. Not the biggest fan of college because of all this. And then also do this, do something for yourself. Do something for others. Give all of yourself for others, and that's why I just constantly do this. Hopefully, I just got sponsored by Voc Rehab. We'll get into that a little bit. But I keep going. Most of them have kids. They don't have time to do all of this, and that's why I don't want to take for granted anymore all of the stuff I can do now. That's why I did hockey. That's why I do this. I just doing this off the rip because I have the time. With kids, there's not going to be as much time. But anyways, the normal average American, even like in the military, they may be caught up in the political game. They don't got much time to read. Sometimes you're working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. Maybe you get called in on Saturday too, just because the military is full of fuck games. Excuse the language, but that's what it is. Or you got some idiot in your formation that messes up, and now everybody's got to come in on Saturday. But no matter what, you're consumed with your own life. You don't have much time to worry about what's going on. And because there's just so much nonsense out there, you have to weed through it. Now you got to find the right information from the right source. And it's just exhausting. You're just like, whatever. I'm working. I'm making it by. Most people are paycheck to paycheck. They don't got much savings. And whatever. I'm able to survive. But it seems as though the general populace is inching towards the feeling that something's got to give. Something, and this is what's happening. I mean, let's look up the riots all over the world. Something's happening all over the world where Japan is rioting, England is rioting, Australia is rioting, I believe Ireland is rioting. Everybody around the world is getting to this point where something has got to give. Riots around the world. Global protest tracker. This is pretty funny. What? Hold up, I'll show you guys this. This is funny. I wonder if active. This is hilarious. I wonder if it even works though. Okay, they're not tracking what's going on now, I guess. Fuel price protest in Angola. Argentina is protesting. Gaza Strip. They've been protesting since the 2021. A year and a half before they're supposedly bombed and raped Israel. I don't know what actually happened there. Anti-government protest since October. Protest against ultra-Orthodox conscription. I don't know. Anti-Netanyahu protest. Interesting. That's still happening. It started at the beginning of this year. All right, let's get out of this because there's something happening right now. I wish opinion. This happened yesterday. Anti-asylum protest in the UK. Near Venice, they protest the war in Gaza. Indonesia protests. Argentina is protests. Look at all of these protests. It's getting out of control. The general populace is saying, "All right, dude, what is going on?" Muslims seem to be running around. Look, even the suggested in Australia, in Ireland, Europe, America, Japan, All of them. Far right anti immigration protests worry leaders in Australia. How is it far right? They're just saying, hey, get them out of here. And this is a thing that nobody really talks about either. Is we got so from the ending of World War II, I of course need to read more about it. It's hard to know all this information. That's what I'm talking about. I'm learning stuff from school. I'm learning stuff how to fix engines on cars and everything, how to fix a whole car. So there's a lot. Now I got to go get my CDL permit, CDLB. There's a whole lot I'm trying to learn, and to retain all this information isn't actually hard. I might actually get a whiteboard up and just start connecting all the dots to everything, just so that I don't have to keep it in my brain. I could just be like, look, I read this last week. I don't have to remember it. This is the connection. But since the ending of World War II, you've had Israelis going, not Israelis, they started the Israel state by going over to Palestine, just straight up taking over their homes, going to live in their homes, and then they're like, all right, this is our home now. Y'all can chew glass. And that's just how it's been going on. Like, that's just straight up the beginning of Israel. So now, ever since then, Israel has been fighting everybody in the Middle East, which is majority Muslims. That's what Muslims bad. 9/11 was Muslims, fake news. Muslims bad, which is what I learned growing up, or at least was indoctrinated with growing up. And so my parents have also fallen for that trap. And Israel has been bombing and trying to take over all the land, kicking everybody out of the land. And where do they go? They go to Europe. They go to America. They're going to Australia. They're going to Argentina. They're going to India. They're going everywhere but there. So now America has to deal with the massive increase of Muslim population. Europe is getting absolutely overran pretty much everywhere. The UK is a nightmare. London is a nightmare. I mean, Ireland is a nightmare. Everybody is saying this, that the Muslims are coming and taking over our country. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with Muslims. I would have zero problem with the Muslims. If you came and you assimilated to our country. Now, no one has really done this well. The Chinese have not done this. Let's take America. The Chinese have not done this well. I have a Vietnamese boss at work. He has done this well. He's one of the very few that have done this well. You come here. It takes you a while. I won't say it doesn't. You come here. Now you have to learn English. Now you have to. I mean, my thing is it's. I guess they don't really have the resources over there. But if it took me 10 years to get to Poland, to immigrate to Poland, I would start learning Polish now. If you've been thinking about moving from Mexico to America or migrating, I would start learning English now. But they come here and they're not learning our language, which is a big problem. I mean, the Tower of Babel, God says, let's change everybody's tongues. Now everybody's speaking different languages. We can't communicate with each other. Now you get frustrated over language. And I will admittedly say I'm frustrated over language because you go to USF, a Florida school, which you think Florida is the old white retirement communities everywhere, which is pretty true. And you're hearing pretty much everything but English around campus. You're hearing pretty much everything but English around the Walmarts. In the Publix is a little different. But I used to go to Walmart all the time up north. Never had a problem. But now they're not learning English. I don't know how they're getting through their courses. They have to be using some type of translator, which if you use a translator in Spanish, that's cheating. So can you even do that? I have no idea. Because now you're using the internet for all your coursework. Are you cheating? I don't know. The point is they're coming here. They don't know English, and we're getting an absolute influx. I think Trump just said, no, send 100 million more Chinese student visas over to America, over here. So what's Trump even doing? Why is he doing that? Why are we getting more? The Chinese, and I'll admittedly say there's not many Mexicans. The Chinese and the Indians are all that's at school. I would say I'm almost a minority now. Shoot, even at hockey practice, there wasn't many white boys running around, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. I mean, that's a white sport. It's more of a rich person sport. I'm not rich, but my parents went into a lot of debt to put me through hockey, which God bless. But I don't know. We're getting a lot of influx of immigrants that aren't assimilating to the American culture, to the American way of life. And then what jobs are they taking? Now, I don't mind the Mexicans because they're taking the outdoor jobs. They're hard work. Every Mexican I see is pretty much a hard worker. I've met very few Mexicans that aren't hard workers. And you can say, well, Trevor, you're racist for saying all of this stuff, but this is what I just see on a daily basis. I mean, I worked at Home Depot. There's Mexicans running up in there every single day getting their stuff to go out and start working. Now, you look around in the Florida heat where it's 95 degrees. I mean, itching towards 100 every single day when you get towards noon. You look on the roofs of who's working on the roofs. It's a Mexican. I seen 2 Mexican women up there working on the roof the other day. Mexicans are working hard. On top of that, they're having families. On top of that, they typically are Christians. So, no, I don't got a problem with the Mexicans. I really wish you would learn our language. I don't really want to learn your language because I'm not going to go to Mexico. English is the language of America. If I can't communicate with you, I'd go find an American to communicate with. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Moving on to Indians. And again, the illegal Mexicans, there's a whole fentanyl ordeal. It's China giving fentanyl to Mexico. Mexico cartels are bringing it to America. I guess fentanyl deaths were through the roof. I know a few people who've died through fentanyl overdose. Yeah, it's getting bad. On top of that, our population crisis is already bad. We're not having enough kids. So if I'd have to hand the American torch down to anyone, all I'm saying is, personally, I would like it to be white people. But if the white people get erased, I would like the Mexicans to take over. Hopefully they can figure out a government and not have cartels running America. But let's say 50 years down the line, we end up losing somehow all of America. I would like the Mexicans to take over America. That's all I'm saying. Maybe it's bad to say, but hey, I've loved every Mexican friend I've had. Hard working, that's what we need. Typically not retarded. They're not retarded. They got good genes normally too. But I'm saying like street smart typically. They work with their hands so they can fix shit. Now farming and all that stuff, I don't know. But they're family people, big family Catholic people. They follow Jesus. So I'm in. I don't want to be ran by Mexicans, but I'm in. But then you get the Indians coming here and the Chinese coming here. And what jobs are they taking? I mean, I've never really seen a jacked Chinese man and a jacked Indian guy. Very few if they are out there. But they're taking the indoors jobs. They're taking all the indoors and all the tech jobs. To say American can't do that job, I would say is wrong. But if we talk about why Americans can't, there's some noises going on. Talk about why Americans don't feel the need to do that job is Americans like going outside too. Americans don't want to sit inside. We're prideful people. We want to go out and contribute to society. If I'm sitting inside all day, don't feel like I'm contributing to society. Trust me, I spent 2.5, 3 years sitting inside doing nothing, not contributing. Felt like nonsense, felt garbage. But you want to feel, you typical Americans, I feel like I'm not, I don't have much facts, but it's just what I see. They want to contribute to society in whatever way they can. They want to make money. They want to have children, at least 2 normally, replace themselves, and they want to contribute to society. So to sit inside is a tough job for them, but they'll do it. They will do it. They're just not, they don't really want, no, they want to survive. So they'll do whatever they got to survive. That's the American dream. Make money, have children, play baseball on the weekends with your kids, take them to practice on Tuesdays, stuff like that. And that's what everybody at work for me is doing it, and they all love their life. They don't seem like anybody there is upset with their life. They're enjoying it. But you take Indians. What jobs are they taking? They're taking our call center works because they'll charge $4 an hour. You hire an American to do that, they're going to need something more than that. They're going to need 18, 19, 20 bucks an hour just to survive now. Inflation's through this roof. You say that's crazy. Well, you want me to sit inside, answer a phone call all day. First off, that work sucks. You want me to be a good customer service representative all day, 8 hours plus a day sitting inside, staring at a wall, talking to people I don't get to see in the face. That's a tough job to do. If you don't care about the customer service and you don't understand English and you're sitting inside all day, no, you don't give a shit. You're getting paid whatever. Who cares? I'm getting paid $5 an hour for this. Don't really care. I'll get the job done. I'll sit there and answer phones. Sweet. We'll hire an Indian. The Chinese, now they are smart people. The Chinese they got the smarts. I believe statistically their IQ is higher than almost everyone. At least Asian. The Asian ethnicity, I guess you could say, is higher than, I think, everyone. But you come here and you start speaking gibberish, and I can barely understand you. Like, we kind of got a problem. Like, you're here, and I'm calling my cell phone provider, and I'm not even, like, America is providing the cell phones to pretty much everyone around the world. I can't get an American on the line. That's why I like Peer Talk. Not sponsored, but that's what I use. Every time I've answered, it's been an American who answers the phone, and it's veteran owned and operated, I believe. Not operated, but veteran owned. So, anyways, that's our problems. And then you get Muslims coming here, which I believe Muhammad, their Messiah, loved Jesus. They all see him as a prophet, and they're not like the Jews to where they shoot down Jesus, where, oh, we see him as a prophet, but we also killed him. No, I believe they were sad about Jesus's death. I'm not sure. But all I've heard is there's an obnoxious amount of contradictions in the Quran. I'm seeing all over the place. How could you still believe in Islam after the internet just because you could see all the contradictions in it? I've never read it. I don't know. That's why it's hard for me to leave Christianity, and I never will. I will follow God, follow Jesus until I die, because it's the most cross-referenced book in the entire world for 2,000 years. So yeah. But rarely see people leaving Christianity for a different religion. You see a lot of Muslims leaving Islam for Christianity. I think that says something in itself. But they're not coming here and assimilating much either. I will at least say, no. I was going to say they're quiet. I guess they're not too quiet. I don't know. At least they have a moral code. Indians don't really have that. I mean, they're just like eating with their hand. They're eating rice with their hands, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of gross when you have spoons and stuff available now. Like, why are we doing that? This is not hand food. Americans love eating with their hands. Don't get me wrong. But if there's food I could eat without my hands, I'm going to do it, right? I do see a lot of, and I don't want to like judge it solely on that, but all the protests are going on over in Europe and everywhere because the Indians are the Muslims are, like, there's a big problem going on. They're raping and killing people. So, I mean, there was a girl. Where did the girl, this like 14-year-old girl arrested? She was arrested for wielding the, wielding weapon, I guess. I don't know. What? Yeah, dude, check how badass this is. This girl's getting chased by what's Scottish, dude. getting chased by two migrants, and she straight up says, "Get away from me, dude. I got a kitchen knife and a battle axe." She got arrested. The other guys didn't. But yet she literally got arrested for this. It's unbelievable. Like that's just so awesome. And now I believe if you go, maybe it's on X. Let's see what the most. Because I did see earlier, there's a woman arrested for putting up a UK flag somewhere. UK flag. Woman arrested for hanging UK flag. I believe she just got arrested, but yeah, this woman arrested for hanging British flag. Let's see. I don't know. A council building, okay. We got it. They're about to have themselves a 1776 moment again. What I'm trying to say is, who are all these police officers that are just fine with this? At some point, you got to choose a side, right? Like you're choosing the government side, or you're choosing my side, the citizen side. If you're choosing, like if I'm a cop here, and things start to happen like that, I mean, I got problems. And this is part of the problem with non-white people or non-white families running America, because if you're, I mean, it's just basic human nature to follow your tribe or care for your tribe, right? Like that's just how it is. And this is actually why I lost my friend group from high school. I said I would walk up and talk to the white girl at the bar instead of the black girl at the bar without seeing their face, just because I'm more attracted to white people. I'm a white person. That's just how it is, dude. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. Not really. But you get somebody like this, that JD Vance picture. The JD Vance picture and the Gavin Newsom picture blew up the world, bro. Blew up Twitter, blew up Facebook for I don't know how long. But people were like, look at this. How does a man like this care for us? His kids are not white. His kid is literally Vivek. Now, a man like this, he may be corrupted, but I'm choosing his side. I mean, look at the beautiful blonde family. That's just me. I'm an American. I'm a white American. That's just how she goes. But you got a man like this saying he cares about, like it's just wrong. Like you're gonna care for your family, and I'm not blaming you for it. That's what family is for. But you're not gonna care about me. I'm just a young white boy trying to succeed, boy. Why would you care about me? Now this guy Gavin has been absolutely tainted. Not gonna lie. But I would choose him over Vance, and I supported Vance. I was very skeptical. I didn't know his background much at all. My family was kind of all like, "Nah, dude, he seems solid from what I seen. He answers questions well. That's what we debate over now. Or that's the litmus test. Can you answer a question well?" Which Vivek did. He did. But the problem with that is, like I'm saying, this is just the world of tribes. And when your family is going to mosque instead of church, I'm not choosing you as my candidate. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Christ is king. This country was founded on Christian ideology, which I didn't debate my teacher. because it's just not worth it most of the time. And I'm trying to figure out that. I'm trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it, because I would kind of like to debate him, but I mean, I got a whole class. It's supposed to be a safe space, like he said, but I got a whole class of people that will look at me like I'm absolutely nuts if I go debating the teacher about the normal truth. Like that, you should have seen the way people were looking at me when I said, "Why are we not studying atheism?" Like it was nuts. It was nuts. And yeah, why would a normal person not support the person who shares their belief system, looks like them, and I mean, yet shares their belief system? Why would you not support that person? That's what that's what the Jewish people have been doing, and I've been saying this for years now. I'll give it to them. They support their own kind. When one Jew rises, they all do. I'll give that to them. Well done. But unless somebody else does it, we're going to have problems, because eventually they will just run everything. But no, I'm the devil for saying this. I am the devil. I am one of the most evil men in the world, because I said Hitler actually wasn't that bad. I said Winston Churchill was an alcoholic that was paid off by the Jewish people. I said, I mean, at work it's getting out of control. I said Jews are running things. One of my buddies says, why? Hey, he asked another dude that worked, or another coworker. He's like, you believe all this stuff Trevor's talking about with Israel? He's like, I don't listen. And that's fair. He's an older fellow. I don't. He just goes to work, goes home, drinks some beers. That's it. That's it. But he says, do you believe the stuff he's saying? I'm like, dude, whether or not you believe it, this is the truth. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about this. This is the truth. This is happening. I don't need to bring you receipts. I mean, do your research, because you don't believe me already. What am I going to show you that's going to change your mind? Nothing. Do your own research. You want to know if it's true. You want to know if you're being ran by a foreign government or people that don't share your values. Do your research. But most people don't really care to do that. It's just out of control. It's out of control. And now I'm a racist. I'm evil for just saying these things that I've been saying. And I'm saying it lightheartedly. I mean, I love all people. I love all people. Jesus loves. I love all people. But the end of the day, when I choose a place to live, I want to live near people like me. I mean, even the Bible says don't marry outside like your belief system, your religion, your race. Even the Bible says that. King Solomon, we just had that at church this Sunday. King Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines. The dude goes and marries Egyptian, which they're saying it's not a bad idea, because you're getting in bed with the enemy. So not a terrible idea, but God tells him not to. Follow my commands, or else the land will be stripped from you. Israel will be stripped from you. And he goes and marries an Egyptian. Then he ends up following these crazy Moloch, which, yikes, you need blood sacrifices to worship Moloch. Then at the end of his life, he writes Ecclesiastes. At least this is what my pastor was saying. And I mean, I haven't read Song of Solomon or Ecclesiastes or First Kings, where we drew all this from, but he writes a repentance book, Ecclesiastes, talking about how there's nothing new under the sun. Ooh, excuse me. Talking about how everybody has, everybody, I've received everything. I've tried everything. Woman, drugs, everything. And nothing has filled my life but God. So, I mean, you marry within your religion, I guess. or your belief system, if you want to not use a definition for religion. But marrying outside of your race is kind of against the Bible, which is why the Jewish people are within their race, and mostly Eastern European. I wonder if that'll show up on Google. I just found out today that Netanyahu was Polish, which is tough. They all changed their names. Demographic of Israel. Let's go straight to the source. Their favorite. Wikipedia, owned by them. Ah, see? Weird. Are Jews, Israeli Jews or Jewish Israeli, comprise Israel's largest ethnic and religious. Over 46% reside. No, I guess I'll pull this up for you guys. Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Mizrahi. All right. Well, there's no surprise that Wikipedia said they're Jews. But there's a reason. I believe they don't allow DNA tests over there in Israel, which is weird, ain't it? You don't allow even to get your DNA tested. Eastern European Jews. Okay, so that's the Ashkenazi. This group whose ancestors lived in Central and Eastern Europe make up a significant portion. Before World War II, Ashkenazi population lived throughout Eastern Europe, and many of the survivors of the Holocaust and their descendants immigrated to Israel. Mass migration of Ashkenazi Jews to Eastern Europe began in the Middle Ages. Starting in the 1990s, approximately 1 million people with Jewish roots immigrated to Israel from the former Soviet Union. This includes both those eligible for citizenship under the law of return and individuals who may not be considered Jewish under religious law. About half of Israel's Jewish population traces its roots to Middle Eastern and North African. That's Mizrahi and Sephardic Jews, okay. 20% of Israel population consists of non-Jews, primarily Arab citizens who are descendants of the indigenous population of the region. So only 20% of Israel is descendants of the indigenous population, which would be the people Bible probably talks about, right? I wonder if they're keeping up with it. I guess not. I guess we would probably know. But descendants of Abraham, descendants of David, Isaac, all that. I wonder if you could trace some of those, but you can't. DNA test, not allowed. I don't know. It's just interesting. A lot of people, like Russia, was getting pissed off because they were poaching. Israel was poaching their Jewish people. I believe they were like, no, you guys can't keep moving there. Hey, check out my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far. If you made it this far, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I would love to talk, which is at Veteran Philosopher. At Vet Philosopher. Sorry. Vet Philosopher. What was that? That's a good almost hour-long rant about how I think. If you guys want to know the sources, sorry. It's 11:40 on this wonderful Labor Day. If you want to know like where I get my mindset, I will say Nick Fuentes has influenced me recently, but there's a lot of stuff I disagree with him out. I mean, Catholicism for the first point, but he still says Christ is King. So there's a decent amount I disagree with him on, but he's well versed. I mean, he's been in the political game for 10 years as just a normal white boy trying to succeed. And he's faced all the backlash. There's a reason they don't want you to know about him. So I started listening to him, and he's got a lot of good information. I've mentioned before Annie Jacobson's books. They give a good insight into the World War II, CIA, a bunch of good stuff within those books. I did Surprise, Kill, Vanish, and what was the Nazi one? Operation Paperclip. had the Nazi, and you kind of realize what America just kind of schemed to have the Nazis over here. And then people are like, well, we were behind in our rockets. We needed to boost up our rockets because the Cold War and the Soviets were going to get to the moon first. That's what they told us. One, moon is fake news. I mean, that's kind of, if saying that 15 years ago was crazy, even saying it 5 years ago, my dad still thinks I'm crazy. Saying we've been to the moon is fake news. It's crazy, but we haven't. We haven't. The videos, the technology of the time, they barely had cell phones. You want to tell me that they were able to communicate with somebody on the moon all the way to Houston? They were able to talk to each other? You go off that. That's just unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. You had to have a line on your phone if you had it. Like, I just don't buy it. A lot of people don't buy it. But no, we had to bring over the Nazi scientists so we can get to the moon. Did we? Did we have to do that? Just don't make no sense, fam. I don't believe we had to actually do that to get to the moon. Now they say they were 10 years ahead of us in rocket research, which is great because now Elon Musk can go to Mars for no reason because they're absolutely destroying this place, Earth. So we're going to have to go somewhere else. Like, no, how about we spend our billions of dollars on fixing this place where most people live and will always live, where 99.9% of the people will always live unless there's an extinction. The amount of people going to Mars is minimal. And on top of that, it's going to cost a lot. So all the rich people will flee to Mars while all the poor people are stuck here. And maybe that will help because then the poor people will start running things. Solzhenitsyn thought the rich people were bad till he got into the Russian gulags and realized the poor people were worse. So maybe it wouldn't be good. Still human nature, but I don't know. There's a lot of focus on everything but helping us. Helping the normal person, the normal white boy trying to succeed. I work 40 hours a week. That should be good enough. It's not. Now, our parents were fine working that to survive. If you wanted extra, you'd have to go work extra. So to put us through hockey, my parents worked extra jobs. They were fortunate we didn't have to do daycare. My grandma lived there, so they didn't have to pay that bill. They didn't have to pay a mortgage, I don't believe, because my grandma had that house. Now, to survive, they had to work one job. For us, in order to even survive, you have to work two jobs. What I make at a city, I would have to work two jobs to even survive. Or my wife can go to work 40 hours a week. Now we got to send our kid to daycare. Now someone else, the government system, is raising my kid. Now I don't have control over my kid. Now my kid turns into trans because of the curriculum they're teaching. Now my kid shoots up a Catholic school. There's the circle. Now that Catholic shooter, or the trans shooter of the Catholic school, had all these things written on his gun. There's a whole political scheme going on about it, when in reality, the kid was just deranged. He's hopped on too many forums, just like all of us have, except we end up finding ourselves thinking, what the hell are we even thinking about? This is crazy. This kid didn't have that line. He's talking about shooting people. He's fantasizing about it. Then he goes back to the Catholic school where he went and his mom retired from and shoots it up during a mass. That's not MK Ultra. This is just normal life without a dad saying, hey, dumbass, go outside, play with dirt, go find some friends. You don't like them? Too bad. You got to go play with them. You want to turn a girl? That's nonsense. You're not a girl. That's absolute nonsense. Let's go throw the baseball. Let's go throw the football. It is so unbelievable, the state of the average American running around. The amount of indoctrination going on with the media and with school is out of control. And the reason we have to use it is because life has become so unbelievably unaffordable to the normal human that they have no other option but to send their kid to school. And that's fact. And that's fact. And they've made homeschooling seem like the craziest idea. You're going to homeschool your kids? That's insane. Really? He's not going to get any social interaction. What are you going to do? Well, let's put him in baseball. Let's put him in sports. Let's go take him out to eat. Let's go take him to the grocery store. Let's just do normal things with him where he doesn't have his iPad attached to his face and his headphones on, to where he's got to communicate with people. Like, and when you see a kid running about or doing something around in Walmart or something with no headphones on, running around like Big Daddy, you picture like the kid just smashing a crayon on the ground. Like you kind of like, at least me, you look at the kid and you're like, man, that's awesome. There's a normal kid out here playing with cans, crinkling up the chips. Hey, let's not crinkle up the chips. Somebody's gonna pick that bag of chips and be disappointed later. Put the chips back, kid. But he's running around, he's yelling. Like, is that just not beautiful? Like life? Can't you just look at that and you're like, man, oh, the fiance's home. I'll wrap this up. But you're like, man, that's awesome. Like everything, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all later.